We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
I like the way they dribble up and down the court, fast and slow. 25 years ago, the WDC, and it's me, your man Curtis Blow, from Dr. J to Michael Jordan to Kevin Durant, who leads the whole league in scoring. Wayne Wade down in Miami, making a name. I love this game. To the NBA Hall of Fame, slam dunks, alley-oops, and the give and go. Vince Carter, Superman, and my man Carmelo and Rondo over in Boston with the big three, captivating audiences across the country and ruling the world like LeBron the King. I say, man, Kobe sure has a lot of rings. I do my thing, not for the bling bling in the amount. It's the NBA Finals, so what's the count?
Tell me what's the count? Had Jerry run a route and Montana throw it out. Atwater make him sour when the back try to bounce. So I'm flipping through the channels as a pulse where I'm out. Joined over 40 enemies, closed mouth. So I'm ESPN, they bury like a mouse. Scanning through the rivals, playoff idol. He'll make all enemies suicidal. Similar to Marshall Falk, a quick bouncer. Scatting on the fast, all you hear is the announcer. Then competition, so the crowd scream louder. Then he realized Roger Craig is a founder. So he sits on the defender around her. As Kareem, my dude, Jabbar hooks him out. Magic with a pass, so the Lakers straight clowning. All I wanna know is homeboy, what's the count? And
all my life I've been a fighter. Greatest upset in history, know that the sports fighter. Put me in the Olympics and guaranteed I'm the torchlighter. Provider of all the lyrics that are blowing scorch fire. I'm in the locker room, getting my ass taped. Thinking speed of a cheetah and strength of a man eight. I'm feeling bad what I'm about to do to this man face. But he the opponent, so I'm on the loss I can't take. Hands like Mayweather, swag like Ali. You think you way better, homie, than I see. And then I think they call me Hitman, Tommy Hearn. And y'all be biting like Tyson, I learn. And I don't gotta be flashy in front of the camera. All I do is show my warrior hard like Evander. Never been knocked out, but I've been knocked down. As long as I make it to the next round, what's the count?
As the crowd goes wild, welcome to WDC Radio. I'm your host, I'm WDC. Thanks for listening in today. Platform created for sickle cell trait awareness. Yes, you know that I'm a sickle cell trait advocate. and that's what we talk about here. Not just African Americans anymore. Got to change that conversation. You can be Hispanic, Mediterranean, European. You got to know your bloodline. So very, it's not difficult. The information is out there. It's just not being shared, and so I've taken on that responsibility to bring awareness to that inherited gene. I carry that gene. My daughter carries that gene as well. I inherited from my dad, so obviously it's in our families in that bloodline. And again, Hispanic community, you're number 2, and those numbers are rising. 1 in 100, 1 in 36,000 with the disease, because they just, for whatever reason, not related to that gene as far as it being called sickle cell trait, sickle cell disease, and they're number 2. So you gotta know your bloodline. You gotta know where your ancestors are from, any of your family background, where malaria was possibly being, present, could have that gene in your bloodline because it's a defense mechanism against malaria. There's so many different aspects of sickle cell trait to talk from. I believe I got Dr. Maisha. Is that you on the line? Anybody here with me?
Yes, that's me.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just just getting ready to start the show. Want to give out that sickle cell trait awareness as we do always here on WDC Radio. That's really the main topic. But as we share this conversation with other health and wellness platforms like lupus, mental health, cancer, whatever that health and wellness conversation, epilepsy, we talk about it all, where people can come and share your stories, share your information and resources about those causes. So Dr. Maisha, you and I carry sickle cell trait genes, and like I said, there's so many different aspects of it. Before we get into what the real show is about, I have waiting for my live guest to show up, and I have a caller going to be calling in about alopecia, which is a gene that causes hair loss. And like I said, when my guests get here, we'll get to how that conversation became a topic here on WDC Radio today. But it's important. It's important. So anything you want to say about sickle cell trait, Dr. Maisha? There's been an article written on the internet that I saw, and the language is so intriguing about sickle cell trait and not being the cause of collapsing and things in the exercise community. Anything you want to share, Dr. Maisha, before
You saw an article saying that sickle cell trait was not the cause of some of these events?
Oh yeah, there was I think I deleted it from my research, but yeah, there was an article.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a very controversial topic because obviously you can have other causes of collapse besides sickle cell trait. So The issue has never been, can there be some other cause of collapse besides sickle cell trait? The issue has been that when you get a critical number of people that share a certain gene and have a certain expression of that gene, then you have to educate people that this is a possibility that can happen to them with that gene. So there is enough research that shows that that patients with sickle cell trait still have sticky blood cells and stiffer blood cells, and that more of them experience deathly mortal collapse than those without it under the same conditions. So, yes, you may have an article that says, "Oh, sometimes that isn't the cause." Of course,
let me give you the title. So the title of the article says, "Sickle cell trait does not increase death risk." That's the title, which is, of course, it's an attention grabber. So I mean, it's gonna grab your attention as a reader, but there is a statement. There's a statement in here. I'm gonna see if I can find it. And they use the word "however." And when I saw "however," I'm like, oh, you just changed the whole conversation then.
Right, they're backpedaling from what they just said.
Right. However,
Yeah. So basically, you don't want to. None of us wants to say that just because you have sickle cell trait means automatically you're gonna die, or you're gonna collapse. And no one's ever said that that's the case. There are plenty of people with sickle cell trait who don't get any symptoms, or who get symptoms that are so mild, or who get symptoms that might be related to something else in their health history, and you can't be for sure that it's related to sickle cell trait.
Right.
So that's never been up for debate, that just because you have sickle cell trait means you're automatically going to experience these symptoms.
Well,
It's a confluence of genetics and environment, as every disease is.
Here's another statement in the article that says these findings suggest that sickle cell trait alone does not increase the individual's risk of sudden death, which is, I get that, okay? I get that, some people you can have a virus or a cold and be exercising with sickle cell trait, and it could be the virus that triggers it. But sickle cell trait is...
Exactly. It's splitting hairs. It's splitting hairs because it's a very controversial topic. Because if you start to admit that sickle cell trait causes problems, now you have a whole other population that you have to treat, and you have to address their symptoms. You have to educate. There's more money that has to be spent. There's more risk for discrimination as well. So there are people who have political motivations for having a certain perspective. And then there's people who have sickle cell trait who don't want to feel like they have something that can harm them living inside of their own body.
Yeah.
So you have tons and tons and tons of controversy around this topic. So if you want to make the argument that sickle cell trait alone does not cause increased risk of death, and you would have to say that having sickle cell alone does not cause increased risk of sudden death, because it's when something in the environment provokes your sickle cell to lead you to a crisis. That's when you have an increased risk of sudden death. So a sickle cell trait, it's when you're under certain environmental. If you just have a nice, relaxed life where you don't have very many physical demands and you can eat the best of food, then your sickle cell trait will probably never cause you a problem.
And it says exertional rhabdomyolysis is rare, but it can be fatal. Of course, yeah, well, yes, and it can be fatal, and it doesn't even tell you why it can be fatal, because rhabdomyolysis is a muscle breakdown, which the heart is a muscle, so which therefore what's possible is cardiac arrest.
Right, and so what will happen is one of the biggest problems, and I've explained this many times, one of the biggest problems with identifying how much risk you get from having sickle cell trait is that you can always explain it away. So you can say, oh, well, this person had these other comorbidities, but everyone has some other comorbidities.
Right.
And what they're doing is applying a process to sickle cell trait that they don't apply to anything else, in order to invalidate the possibility of you having a problem from it. So they're saying, well, it's rare that you can have this thing that does kill you. Well, therefore, having sickle cell trait, and if you did not have the sickle cell trait, you would not get the rhabdo and you wouldn't die.
Right.
Having deadly rhabdo is very unusual. You can have rhabdo, exertional rhabdo, but usually it's not something that kills you. If you push any human being past their capacity for physical activity and continue to deny them fluids, you can kill them. But where's the issue here is that at the same level of activity that everyone, say, in basic training is experiencing, and they don't get a rhabdo that can kill them from doing that level of activity. A person with sickle cell trait could get a rhabdo that could kill them. They could get heart complications that could kill them.
Right.
And so in the literature, when someone with sickle cell trait dies of heart disease, that death is listed as being caused by heart disease,
right,
not by sickle cell.
Right.
So it's really playing word games. That is an article that is playing word games.
And that's what I noticed when I read this article. I'm like, okay, you did good. You got the attention grabber. And, then you start reading the article, and then the language, is what it is. And then you look at those key words, and those, like I said, those key words changes the subject matter. And you know what? And I'm not even offended, because it's not just sickle cell trait that can cause these athlete health complications. So I'm on one side of it, I'm okay with it, because the whole stereotyping or however you want to language it, on the student athletes that are, with this gene, guess what? You got to be aware of thalassemia. You got to be aware of C trait, D trait, all these other health, red blood cell conditions that can cause the same kind of reaction as sickle cell trait exertion. So I'm good with it in one term, which is fine. But it is possible if you have sickle cell trait that you can have rhabdomyolysis together, which can cause that health complication, which can cause sudden death, and you can't question that.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's hard. It's just a very difficult situation. It's very hard to come to grips with. But we have to ask ourselves, what's the alternative? If we pretend that this isn't a problem, how are people going to be affected? When people could have been told, hey, you just need to drink extra water, and that could have saved their lives.
Right.
But we don't want to admit that this is a problem. We don't want to label it as a problem. So then we don't say that this is a problem. So we put these people at risk of death when we didn't have to. It's just the conditions that will affect an athlete a certain way who does not have sickle cell trait will have potentially a much more dire effect on someone with sickle cell trait.
Right.
And again, it's not every single person with sickle cell trait. It's a coming together of genetics and environment.
Yeah.
But it's something that must be discussed. And you can say that with any disease. You can take any disease and say, oh, well, it's only when this happens, then they have a problem. Therefore, you can't say that this. Well, yeah, that's every disease.
Right.
That's every disease.
Let me ask my guests, are you welcome to the show? I'm going to thank you for coming in. I'm going to get you guys set up on camera shortly. But we're having this platform is for sickle cell trait awareness. Have you heard about sickle cell? Speaking to the microphone for me.
I mean, I've heard about sickle cell, but I'm uneducated.
Yeah.
That is definitely something that's interesting.
How about you, sir?
Pretty much the same.
Yeah. Cowboy,
What's up, brother?
how you doing?
All right.
Thank you for being here, man.
Thank you for inviting us.
This platform is created for sickle cell trait awareness, and we're just having this conversation with Dr. Maisha, and they're writing articles, kind of contradictive, because it's all in language.
Yeah.
Sickle cell trait is an inherited gene. If you have ancestors from Africa or near the equator where malaria was present, you could have that red blood cell gene condition in your bloodline because it fights malaria. So it has a purpose. That's how those races survive, those communities survive from malaria. Outside of that environment here in the United States, the conversation is a little bit different because babies are being born with sickle cell disease, just in Africa as well. But here, that seems to be the main focus of the children being born because the parents don't know that they carry these genes. So they're having babies and having families, and babies are born with this disease. And they're not finding out until sometimes after the fact.
Is there better treatments or healthcare in the United States versus Africa?
Well, I would say yes because of just that environment of Africa. But the treatment is totally different. People in this community feel they are treated with less compassion than other people with other health issues like cancer or lupus or things like that. So it has a lot of different, attached conversations to it. But the main part of it is that how it's inherited and who's affected by it. And previously it's been focused on the African American community, we're predominantly, that's a black gene. So other nationalities, we don't care. We don't have to worry about that because that's not in our culture or in our skin color, which is not the case. You have to know your bloodline.
America.
Right. So that's where we're at with re-educating the community, the world about this gene and who can inherit this gene.
But anybody can inherit the gene, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just not related to African American.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not a racist gene.
No,
it's
not
an
a racist
equal opportunity
gene.
factor.
It is not racist. And so again, unless you know your ancestors, your bloodline, you would never know. So Hispanics are number 2 because they carry that same gene and they're not aware. So those numbers are growing. But you can be Mediterranean, European, Caucasian, Asian because of where your bloodline is from, not where your skin color or your you know. So it's very important. Dr. Maisha, anything else you want to say before I let you go?
No, that was great. That was great. I'll be listening. It's very interesting to hear what the guests have to say today.
Okay, thank you.
All
All right,
right.
so I'm
Have a
gonna
nice
take
night.
I'm gonna take a quick break and get this show started. Cowboy man, I just want to thank you. They'll be able to see you in a second once I take this break, but thank you for bringing this conversation to light for us. Speaking to the mic, make sure you say.
Yeah.
You know, you was on my other show, the Farron Dozier show, on my
Yes,
Monday
I
show,
was.
and we were talking about being human being in life and
yeah.
just conversations.
Yeah.
And you mentioned alopecia.
Alopecia. Yeah. I guess that's how you pronounce it, right?
Alopecia.
Yeah.
It's very
alopecia.
simple, yeah.
Yeah, very simple. It's a simple word, but it's a big disease.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know what it is,
Right.
or how you get it, or anything else.
And
So
that's
why
we're
we're here today to talk about it. And I brought this young lady because she has it and she can talk about it. And then I brought Elvis with us. Elvis is with us too.
Yeah.
And I'm here.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick
And then
break.
you got somebody on.
Yeah, I got to get a $1 million. I got to get BB on the line. She's gonna call in as well,
Yeah.
Awesome.
and she's gonna be a part of this conversation
Great.
too. So let me get the camera situated. This is WDC Radio. You want more information about sickle cell trait? Go to WDCONSCT.org and learn about this inherited gene called sickle cell trait. And we will be right back as soon as I find something. What I want to play for y'all? Talk dirty.
Get jazzy on. I'm that flight that you get on. International. First class seat on my lap, girl. Riding comfortable. Cause I know what that girl them need. New York to Haiti. I got lipstick stamps on my passport. You make it hard to leave. Been around the world, don't speak the language. But your booty don't need explaining. All I really need to understand is when you talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me.
I know.
Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Get jazzy on them. You know the words in my songs. No habla English. Our conversations ain't long, but you know what is. I know what that girl them want. London to Taiwan. I got lipstick stamps on my passport. I think I need a new one. Been around the world, don't speak the language, but your booty don't need explaining. All I really need to understand is when you talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Met your friend in Rio. She was all on me. We can make Nazi 3 Oh yeah.
Those cadenas close to genius. Sold out arenas, you can suck my penis. Gilbert arenas, guns on deck. Chest to chest, tongue on neck. International oral sex. Every picture I take, I pose a threat. Bold and jet, what you expect? Her pussy so good, I bought her a pet. Anyway, every day I'm trying to get to it. Gotta say to my phone on the big booty. Anyway, every day I'm trying to get to it. Gotta say to my phone on the big
Been
booty.
around the world, don't speak the language, but your booty don't need explaining. All I really need to understand is when you talk dirty to me. You do talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Talk to me.
Yeah, my last one too.
Talk dirty to me. Get jazzy on.
All right, welcome back to WDC Radio. I'm your host. I'm WDC. I want to thank you for tuning and listening in. As always, we have a very, very important show for you. I'm getting all the cameras ready and situated for you. Let me check my line. You're live at What's the Count? Hello, caller.
Hello.
Is that you?
Yes, it is.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. I got it's breaking up just a little bit, but I'm gonna keep you right there, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, again, thanks for listening in. If you want more information about sickle cell trait, go to WDCONSCT.org and get your information there. Today's subject matter, though, again, we share this platform for other causes. So I'm going to go around the deck and just introduce everybody so you can get a gist of who's here. All right, microphones. Everybody's live and hot. Cowboy.
Hey,
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Again, thank you for coming out, man. I appreciate you. Again, we were just sharing about how this whole conversation started on my Monday show, and now we have guests here who actually live with this health. How do you describe it, Leah?
How do I describe alopecia?
Yeah.
It is an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
So it's my immune system gets confused and attacks my hair, and it falls out. There's 3 main kinds of alopecia. Alopecia areata attacks the hair on your head. Alopecia totalis attacks the hair from the neck up, so eyelashes, eyebrows are gone as well.
Wow.
And then universalis, and that's whole body.
Oh, I want that one.
and next to Leah is my man Elvis. Introduce yourself, Elvis, to the.
Hello, planet Earth. My name is Elvis. I'm just a honored guest to be with these two. I don't know anything about alopecia. It just sounds sexy, but I'm here because I want to know more about it.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming out. And on the line, $1 million BB, she goes by, and she was actually a guest on our sports show the Saturday before my Monday show.
Nice.
And so she opened up and shared about alopecia on the show. And lo and behold, 2 days later, I got my man Cowboy is like, hey, I take that back. We had that show Monday first. Prior, I take that back. I stand corrected. That Monday show was first. We talked about doing the show for the 13th, and then she came on, BB came on, and did her interview, and that's exactly what she was living with. And so, BB, introduce yourself, please.
Hello. Am I breaking up or everything's all good?
It's a little broken up, but you can go ahead. We'll make it work.
Is that a phone calling or like a Skype?
Yeah, you got me on.
No, it's a phone call. I'm calling in from Florida.
She's in
and
Florida.
I'm from Sydney, Australia. And I've been kind of asked to come on the show to join you guys talking about alopecia.
Yeah.
So pretty much I've had alopecia for the last 8 years, and it comes and goes. I just decide when I want to play and not play, but in actual fact it kind of works in my favour in regards to not having to shave, especially if I'm training my martial arts. Makes it a lot easier to not have to.
Hey, BB, I want you to do me a favor and find if you can find another spot, because it's a little broken up when your call is broken. So if you can dial back and maybe get another location, that would be perfect.
Is that better?
No, it's still. I think it's the line. I believe it's more in the line. So try and call back.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, no problem. So, Leah, this is. I mean, like I said, Cowboy brought this to my attention. I mean, you're my live guest here. Please let us know what was going on when you before the diagnosis.
Yeah.
That you noticed, like in your health, like what was going on in life.
For me and for the most of the people that I've met since I've been diagnosed, it's usually the same story. There are really no side effects other than sudden hair loss. And with alopecia, I have a lot of people ask me if they have alopecia when they have like all over thinning. No, that's not alopecia. Alopecia always, you lose your hair in patches. Mm-hmm. Like silver dollar size patches, different areas around your head. Some people it happens very quickly, and people like me, it can take a year or more for the whole head of my hair to fall out. And so I had just moved to California from the Midwest, a small town. That week, I found my first bald spot. And I didn't know what was happening. I had never heard of alopecia, ever. And so I thought it was stress. I thought it was environment. I thought it was pollution. I thought it was the water. I thought all kinds of stuff. So it took me a long time to get a diagnosis.
Okay. So, did you find the first patch? What were you like? What were you thinking?
Horrified. I was horrified. I was born with a full head of bright red hair. And this is something that I've thought about a lot. I've been with alopecia now for 8 years. And from the time that I was born, even when I was a small baby, being held in my parents' arms, I always heard, what beautiful red hair. Always the first, gorgeous red hair. Look at that little redhead. As I got bigger, it was, what a cute redhead. And then as I got, older, look at that feisty, sexy little redhead. You know what I mean? I identified and didn't realize it completely with being a redhead. And so when it started to fall out, I mean, it's horrifying. Yeah. And as a young woman, how do you handle that?
Age? Want to give us an age range?
I was 31.
31.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole time, glowing red hair.
Oh, I kept a mane. I kept it all my life, down to my hips. I kept a mane of red hair. It was who I was. Now, it was my signature.
When you say it falls out in, chunks,
circles.
like circles, that's like always? Like
yes.
It's just in big.
Yes, always.
Like a crop circle, just like poof, gone.
Like a crop circle, but not as cool.
Yes. Here's one of her first videos. I don't know if you can see it, but you can probably hear it.
I got my man over here. So,
like when those just fall out, and you said it was fast, right?
Mine was not very fast. No, it took about a year to lose my full head of hair.
Well, I mean, like each patch. Like when you lose a patch, I mean, is it like you wake up and it's just gone?
Yes.
Like someone just.
It's like laying on your pillow.
Practical joke, like.
Yes.
Shaved a spot.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow. That's fast.
Pretty horrifying. Yeah. You wake up, big.
Emotional impact, mental
impact.
Here's your tape.
Impact, professional impact. It changes your entire life, and that is a lot to handle as an adult woman.
It's showing on YouTube.
That it was devastating. It was
nice.
Who I thought I was. For this challenge, I want to acknowledge the children with alopecia. I've become very interested in the children out there that have alopecia because they don't have the emotional maturity, life experience that we have as adults to deal with these kinds of things. The emotional impact that it had on me, I can only, I've seen firsthand, has quadruple that on these children. So I would like to nominate the Children's Alopecia Project.org. For this challenge, I just thought I might bring out a little bit of bravery. Let me just show you. Right now, I am out of remission, and I am currently losing my hair, and it comes out in phases. It comes out in patches in different areas, and it, for me, happens slowly over time. So what I have now is enough to wear a hat and have a ponytail. So I have a ponytail. And get by in the world and look somewhat normal and also stay warm. But today I'm willing to give that up for this challenge, for the kids. So let me show you what my alopecia looks like now. And I know this is going to be publicized, so my heart's pounding pretty hard, and this is
the first time I revealed it.
revealing for me, but I'm going to bite the bullet for the kids. So here we go. This is how the pattern of loss happens in my head. I have very little hair. You can see that the loss comes in patches. And then I'm going to turn you around to the mirror here. See? For the back of my hair, I just have little patches. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing myself, and knowing that this is going to be public is pretty scary, but I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of the rest of my hair. I'm going to do it for the kids, and I'll be right back. Okay.
Thank you, Leah, for sharing that. I mean, we for people not to understand, that autoimmune disease, I can only imagine the mental aspect of it, for your own personal courage. I mean, to do that. I mean, again, when you first found out, what did they tell you? Like, is it an inherited gene? Like, what is it?
You know, they don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know. The doctor that I saw literally called it like a physical manifestation of stress, like a PTSD high stress situation that instigated it. But there are children born with it. There are like Cowboy's friend. She was 10 years old when it's on set.
Yeah. When it came out, she was 10 years old. What happened was she woke up and she had big clumps of hair on her pillow.
Yep.
And, as a 10-year-old child, she was devastated and scared and went running to her mother.
Yeah.
So they took her to the doctor. And they don't know what really causes it. They think it's a lot of stress. I think her family at the time, the mother and father were going through a divorce.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot of stress on her. I remember my buddy, my friend Bud was telling me it's his granddaughter, and she would go to school, and they would laugh at her baldness.
Yeah.
The kids. I mean, you know how cruel kids can be sometimes.
Oh, mean.
Yeah, mean. So they laughed at her baldness. So me and him got together, and we thought, okay, let's get her a wig. And we put a flyer out, and we got with the Black Sheep, which is a motorcycle ministry, and we got with them, and we did a bike night, and we got about $1,000, and we got her a wig, and it was real hair.
Yeah.
And when she went to school the next day, everybody was shocked because she had this beautiful long blonde hair. So and now I guess it's in a mission.
Remission. In remission?
In remission, because she has her beautiful hair back.
Okay. Thank you for that, Cowboy. BB, are you there? Let's try it.
I am.
Okay, perfect.
Hey.
All right.
Is it breaking up still, or is
No,
it
you're clear. You're real clear.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
let's
that's
go back to
fantastic.
you, BB, and just reintroduce yourself to the listeners, and then we'll let you share about your experience.
Okay, so my name is Bibi, and I'm known as $1 Million Bibi. Very similar to the $1 Million Baby because of the story with the movie. I've had alopecia for it's been 8 years now, and it started when I was about 12. I had quite a colourful childhood where patches would come out in all shapes and sizes, so different shape, size coin sizes, sometimes a whole half of a head, which I also got teased and bullied at school as well. So growing up with that was pretty tough. So then about 8 years ago, I had some extreme emotional stress when all my hair fell out within 2 weeks. So I mean, like everything from eyebrows to eyelashes, the whole lot. So that was definitely, they say it's not linked to extreme emotional stress, but for me, I know it was, because if you're losing your hair in 2 weeks, it's such an extreme thing to happen. That's what happened to me. So there's times where it does come back and I have to shave it, and then there's other times where it's just out. It doesn't really worry me anymore. It's actually part of who I am now. So the great beauty of everything that's happened, because I am a martial artist, I found a beauty in actually doing the Muay Thai kickboxing, which brought me a lot of peace with the discipline and also physical activity to reignite myself feeling alive again. I found myself meditation. So with all of that encompassed, it's really enhanced my particular look for particular roles now, where people are actually headhunting me for, I guess, badass kind of girl movie roles, which is pretty cool now. So it's worked in my favor.
Badass.
No, is there any like science that proves that it's like can be stress related? Because that just sounds like a catch-22 nightmare, especially for women, that if you get a lot of stress, your hair falls out, but as soon as your hair falls out, that's going to stress you even more. like making it worse, it seems.
Yes, they haven't scientifically proven it. I just know for myself during periods of times where I have been incredibly stressed with a lot of personal things with maybe family, could be for work, the patches increase and the hair falls out more. And yes, the more you stress, the more it falls out. You just can't help it because it's an underlying stress which is subconscious because you can't help thinking about it. And as a woman walking around in society, as a bald woman, the initial thought is, you know, do they have cancer or something's definitely wrong? And also with this society, I think I talked about it before about taking so many selfies, and I work in the fitness industry, so I know that a lot of it's to do with how you look and how you present yourself. So it is incredibly tough, and it's a daily, you know, it's a daily thing. It's an hourly thing. It's a minute. Every minute you could be walking down the street and you'll have someone staring at you, which is really incredibly difficult. The first 2 years I actually wore a wig. I wore a Halle Berry wig, which everyone thought looked amazing, but they didn't know it was a wig. So they made a big carry-on about my hair, how amazing it was. And then it wasn't until about 2 years later I came out with the fact that I've actually got no hair. And that was quite shocking for a lot of people. And I lost some friends, which, you know, they're not true friends, obviously, but it was a really difficult time. And I think you lose, as a woman, your sensuality as well, because you're incredibly raw. You've got nothing to, you know, if you're having a bad day, you can wash your hair and make yourself feel nice, put a bit of makeup on, but you're so confronted with just your face and who you are. It's accepted, obviously, for men. Men get alopecia as well.
Right.
So, you know, men, boys, girls, doesn't matter what age, but it's obviously accepted because, you know, we have guys that shave their heads or men that do actually have alopecia and they just shave it, so it's accepted.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
I just got to throw in there. I mean, G.I. Jane looked pretty hot with the shaved head, so
Yeah.
I think it can be done.
She did. Actually, I will mention this, one of my friends who didn't know that I actually lost all my hair, and I was incredibly depressed, and he came and found me. He kind of just turned up to my house, and he said, you know, I'm outside the front of your house, and I said, okay, and he says, well, I want to see you. So I was in a very, very dark place, very bad place, and I quickly whacked on the Halle Berry wig. And what he does normally is when he sees me, he gives me a big hug and he runs his fingers through my hair. And when he went to do that, I completely forgot he always does that. He nearly ripped the wig off and I had to grab his hand and say, you know, you can't do that. And he's like, why? I always do that. And I said, well, I've got something to tell you. So when I did actually take the wig off to show him, the best thing he could have said was, and this is what he did say, he said, wow, you look like G.I. Jane. Which is awesome. So awesome.
Yeah.
So he actually rebuilt, my sensuality and spirit as a woman, because I think at the end of the day, your beauty within your heart and who you are will shine through bigger than what people will just see initially. Yeah. And I think you just have to own your own space and who you are and accept it. And I don't even think about it anymore, to be honest. It's only when people are quite confronting, they come up and say, have you got cancer? And I think, oh yeah, I haven't got any hair.
Right. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Is there,
do
either of you know how many people, are there any statistics of how many people suffer from alopecia? Or
no, BB, if you know, I've heard somewhere around 2% of the general population, but I feel like that's low now that I've been in the alopecia community, that we're everywhere, really. Yeah. And so many people that don't identify are still in the closet. You know what I mean? But I don't know if you've read something about that, BB.
I'm just looking this, sorry, I hope I haven't cut out. I'm just bringing my laptop out to the door. But I did actually find, it says that the autoimmune skin disease, it affects 5.2 million individuals in the US alone.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds.
So, yeah, there's not a lot of awareness about it. and it needs to be. There needs to be. We need to speak about it. And there's quite a few like Hollywood stars that actually have it as well, famous Hollywood stars, but they normally wear wigs and whatnot that we don't even know about.
And some don't, like Joseph Gatt and Anthony Kerrigan, but they're men. Yeah. And like BB, like you said, they get cast in those roles. You know what I mean? The wicked-looking villain or the superstar.
They do. So I mean, even one of the most famous ones is. Do you know Matt Lucas from Little Britain?
Yes, yeah.
The comedian.
You gotta talk in your
He
mic.
got actually. Yeah. Do you know him?
Yeah. Well, I don't know him personally, but yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah. So he actually got teased at school quite a lot, and that's why he actually became a comedian, to make him funny and so that he was actually liked. And then he got casted in these movies. I would probably be the first woman that would be cast in a movie that's got alopecia, I would say. People have actually seen me training at a gym, and they'll come and call the gym to actually say, who's that little Asian bull chick. Yeah. And then ask me to come through. And that's what's actually happening now, where there's actually been, I haven't generated anything, and it's just kind of led me on a path, and that's why I'm actually here in the US at the moment, is that there's people that's obviously interested in this particular look. So as I said, it's really worked in my favour. But when I initially found the Muay Thai kickboxing, that actually saved my life, really. I found myself a discipline. It was the Muay Thai kickboxing. It took me into a spiritual place where I found the meditation. Also with the physical hard training, it reignited my body so it felt alive. It nearly needed to be not hurt in a sense, but when you're training in a gym, or you might go and do a massive workout, or you do weights and your body hurts after it. Yeah. Your body feels alive. It feels it's been worked. And that's what I really needed. And it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. So now I've actually learned a martial arts. I found myself a discipline, and I found meditation, which I do daily to help calm my mind, just with a lot of things. It's not really about the alopecia, it's just to relate to my mind going a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Just to settle and, just learn about myself.
All right, baby. Thanks a lot, baby. I'm going to ask, I got some questions for Leah right here. She was sitting here in my face and making all these facial expressions over here. Again, she explained her, life and experiences with that.
Right.
Give me some of your life experiences.
Just
initially.
So many parallels.
Yeah.
So many parallels. For the years leading up to my hair falling out, there was seriously dark emotional times. Really, really dark stuff. I was in an extremely emotionally and mentally abusive marriage at the time, and I didn't feel capable of leaving that. And like I said, I never ever related the two. I mean, you have hair your whole life. You take it for granted. It's a given. People get stressed out all the time. Their hair doesn't fall out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or
maybe thin a little, but
maybe
not
thin a little. Right. Exactly.
Giant chunks falling out.
Giant chunks falling out. It's pretty scary. And I had never heard of alopecia. I started looking for. I tried therapy. I did. Kind of my lame attempt at yoga or whatever it was. I had just moved to California from a small town in the Midwest. I was in culture shock as well as everything else. And I agree with BB, everything she said. I'm hearing a lot of the gifts that alopecia has given me and my soul and who I am.
Right.
And I hear that in BB too. But it's so easy to skip over
Yeah.
that dark, dark time that led up to those gifts. You know what I'm saying? Because it was bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a job. I would walk in for an interview and, you see their facial expression. It's the first impression. You can tell them all you want. I'm not sick. I'm not going to be gone all the time. I'm not going to, be out on benefits. But it's that first impression. They're uncomfortable with you, period. Yeah. And like BB, you said you had a great wig. I never had a great wig. I had really bad wigs. It was not cool at all. I tried to do, I went, to the stores and I tried to buy cool fabrics and make cool wraps. And it didn't matter what I did. I looked sick. I felt sick.
Yeah.
And people assumed I was sick. And I think that my soul was so dimmed by that whole experience that I walked around giving off the vibe that I was sick, but I was spiritually sick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Emotionally,
yeah.
And I want to thank you for being open, because a lot of this advocacy work that I do, I can relate to you being depressed 2.5 years before I got out of the military. So I know how deep that dark side can go, as far as wanting to take your life. But then also we're expressing, like BB saying, how we found our passions inside that deep dark spot. So I want people to understand that in life, those things that we think that are those experiences that are negative may not be so negative in the world, because those negatives can educate others in a positive way. And so discovering your purpose, your voice in these different communities that you live in with who you are, and that awareness, you're educating people's lives. I mean, you're bringing awareness to something that somebody might be dealing with that, or they may have a cousin dealing with that and have no idea what that is, and to hear you speak about that, I call it the ripple effect.
It is.
You may not never know who's listening that can impact, and by sharing that.
Well, and for maybe some that are like, I'm curious, in those dark times, like how do you cope? Like, I mean, when it's like new, I mean, it's hitting you, you're freaking out. Like, how did you, or BB, you know, how do you cope?
A lot of drinking.
That's the cowboy way. That's the cowboy way. Yeah.
We can all laugh, but that is exactly what I did.
Hey,
that is exactly what I did. That is the truth.
That's it.
I don't know, BB, I don't know your story. I'd be really interested to hear it. This is like the part I love discussing with my alopecian sister. You know what?
There might be some people out there that have no clue where to start, you know, and they're like in a pit of hell because it's like last night was the first night. It just fell out. What do I do?
Right. And so this is what happened to me. When I finally went to the doctor and the doctor said that word alopecia, like it was like, duh, alopecia, you have alopecia. I'm like, what in the hell is alopecia, you know?
That's the initial shock.
It was almost scarier to put a name to it, because I'm like, wait a minute, what? I have a disease? This can't just be, you know, something I can control. Right? Okay, so you go home, you Google it. I start, you know, hours and hours in front of the screen, just
which is not always a good thing.
No, it's not always a good thing. But what happened was I found alopeciaworld.com. I don't know if you found that, BB, but it's a huge platform for everything alopecia and people to come together and meet. And I started digging through that, and there's, you know, millions of women and men on that site. But at first I was really excited because I was not alone. I didn't feel like I was alone. But everything I read was from women that felt just like me. How do I hide this? How do I cover this up? How do I live with this? How do I tell my new boyfriend that I really don't have hair? What color should I wear so I don't look as bald? I mean, it was everywhere. It was about, how do I deny this as part of me? And I got, over time, very angry and frustrated. I got tired of feeling bad. I got tired of feeling, you know, terrible in public. I got tired of feeling sick. And at that time, my husband, my ex-husband now, was also very unsupportive. So, you know, he would see the bald areas and be like, you know, don't let me see that. So I was alone in that. And I got really upset, and I was in a very bad mood one day, and I dug up the founder of that website, and I wrote her a nastygram. And
a nastygram?
I did. I went on to tell her, you know, who I am and how, you know, I can see her point in trying to found this site. But what I felt like it essentially did was just give women another place to hide. I imagine every one of us sitting in our homes, away from public, on that computer screen, and complaining and crying and whining and staying at home on that website. You know what I mean? And she brought it home to me, man. That was a turning point for me. She wrote me back in all of her wisdom, having alopecia her whole life and knowing everything that every woman had gone through, and said, simply, what do you suggest?
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
Pow, right in the face.
Now what?
Right in my face. And I can tell this story because she and I are very good friends now. We are very good friends to this day. But that hit me right in my guts. And so it was at that point where I was able to take my anger and my newfound humility And
wait. What did you reply?
I told her I'm gonna have to get back to you.
The safest answer she could give.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl Carver. I gotta mention her name. I had to throw her. She saved my life with that comment. You know what I mean? Because I got angry, and then I did this. That's when I think that's the first time I straightened up my spine and lifted my head, my bald head, and I walked out in public. You know what I'm saying? I went to Hollywood. I just started sending my bald picture out everywhere I could. I just started being as loud as I could. I started. I got involved.
How did that go? What made you do that? That's like amazing because you've just basically grabbed it by the balls, basically.
I did.
And gone, I'm going all or nothing. So what came of that? Like, so, yeah, you have to tell me what happened. What was the beauty that came out of it that you did that? And good on you for doing it.
This is what happened. I was expecting my goal. I was so angry. I had finally turned from depression to anger, which is actually like a step up, right?
Yeah.
So I was so angry. I was hitting every talent search, I don't even know how many I sent out. I did not know what I was doing. Small town girl from South Dakota sitting in California, But I was planning on putting together a whole book of rejection because I was pissed and I wanted to make that public. Like, look at this. I think Tyra Banks, remember when she did like America's Next Top Model? Mm-hmm. There was a show, I can't remember what year it was, but one of the challenges for those girls was it was going to be an alopecia episode. So she challenged her models to shave their heads and do a shoot.
Oh, wow.
They agreed until shaving day.
They actually backed out?
They actually backed out. They never were able to do that. So what they did is they ended up giving these girls caps. You know what I mean? Like they do in the movies.
Oh, like the movie style?
Right. And right, thank you. I was so upset by that. I thought, man, these girls know for a fact that their hair will absolutely grow back. Mm-hmm. And every time mine does or falls out, never ever know if it will ever come back, and they wouldn't do it.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? And so I was planning on putting out this huge like public blog or something about all the rejection that I would get from all of this attempt at publicity. And what ended up happening, BB, is that I started getting casting calls like you.
Boom.
Right? Another in my face.
Boom.
We like you. We want to meet you.
Boom.
Come and see us. Send more pictures.
Well, this is a media show, and you just shared that information. I think it's just safe to call Tyra out right now. What's up with that?
Let's run that episode,
you
right?
know? Yeah. I mean, well, you know, come on, stand up.
Stand up.
But you know what?
So what happened? Did you end up getting any roles?
She's a superstar now.
She's a superstar. You didn't want to take that walk anymore?
She's a superstar.
What was the beauty that came out of it?
You know what? The beauty that came out of that didn't end up being so much public beauty as it did inner beauty for me, because at that point, I started to feel empowered, and I started to realize it was time to clean up my drinking and leave my husband.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was a longer journey than that. That was a few years back. It took me some years.
Don't worry, I completely understand. You said the lucky number 8 years.
Yes,
that you've had this.
Yes.
Well, I'm the same with 8 years as well. And 8 years is actually number 8 is a lucky number in the Asian world.
It's always been my favorite number. Remember?
Yeah.
It's always been my favorite number. Yeah. So alopecia put me on this entire path to change and improve my life, my soul. I am sober. I am like you, I'm in meditation, spiritually happy. And I have causes. So that Tyra Banks show is what started me thinking about these young girls, because almost all of them are teenagers or young 20s at the oldest, these models. Mm-hmm. And they were so terrified to be bald, even though they knew they could have their hair back, that they would not do a show that could launch their career into, the fourth dimension. So think about what it's like for an actual alopecia patient or sufferer that age to go through it I mean, there's suicide.
See, I'm thinking about the younger ones, like your
Like the
cowboy.
10-year-old.
The 10-year-old. I mean,
10-year-old. She was,
they don't have that growth. They haven't learned that
Right.
adult strength of kind of
The
pushing
mental
through
tough-
things.
yeah, the
Yeah.
mental
So
toughness.
what
Well,
do
but-
children do?
Well, the children, they have hospitals that these children go to, and they're all, I was reading this on the internet, and they have child hospitals where the children go, and they're all bald, and they all get together, and they do fun things.
Yep.
And they make them laugh. They try to make them feel part of, instead of not being part of something. And they even have classes that they can go to where they don't have to go to public school or anything else. They can do classes online with other alopecia people or kids.
And I want Elvis for bringing that subject matter up. It's very important how these conversations relate to other communities, because we were talking about this with people living with the children living with sickle cell disease, how we don't give them the mental health when they're little. We want to wait and do it when they're older, and now they've got to deal with all this stuff that they dealt with from childhood to adulthood, and now you want to go and try to get your mind straight around that when you could actually introduce that mental health to that 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old.
Yeah.
So they develop with mental toughness. So when they become adults, the confidence and the courage is already
there.
instilled.
Yeah.
It's like we do it kind of backwards. Like
they don't have any medicine for this disease, right?
No, they don't.
No,
But can I just mention it does come down to also the parents
yeah,
being
Thank
open
you.
to wanting to, because I know that when I was growing up, my parents they came out to Australia, but they didn't have basically back in the day there was nothing like that of any support group, and in the Asian culture we're supposed to not share any of our emotions.
Right.
We're supposed to have like the show poker face, and we're not to share any problems with anyone. So when all this was happening to me, I didn't have anything or anyone really, because my parents were in denial. I had steroid injections in those patches when I was younger,
Oh wow.
which had a little bit of growth, but it fell out again. But you're talking about injecting steroid into your body.
That's just bad.
That's just bad.
Yeah, which is bad, because I think at the age of 21, I had to detox my body, and that was horrific. And because I had so much steroid in my body, and I think that's why I don't take any drugs, and I don't really drink that much at all. I do treat my body like, it's going to sound very cheesy and probably cliche, but also because I'm a trainer and I love what I do treat my body, because it's the place that I live, so I treat it like my temple. So it's definitely mind, body and soul. But going back to, I think it's great and it's awesome that there's these places for these kids. I just don't feel that there's a lot of parents that are supportive in that to take their children to do things
now,
like that.
I'm not gonna defend parents, because everybody's environment is different.
Right.
But I want to give you the other side of the coin. And I can only do this because, again, I can relate this to the community that I advocate for, and the people that I've talked to and the parents that I've talked to. A lot of parents just don't understand. I mean, it's not that they don't want to help, but
see, it's human nature.
Yeah.
If you don't understand something or know about it, you kind of naturally fear it.
So
nowadays there's so much of that.
Right.
We want to white noise it and just
right. So you can't. So as far as a parent, you got to look at that parent and how they're digesting, how they're looking at their child sick, and then all this stuff is. A lot of them just panic and don't know what to do, and then nothing gets done. Not to defend that they don't care or concern, but again, we're looking at human being function.
Well,
and this
I know
shut down.
the 10-year-old, when she first got it, her parents kind of shrugged it off like it was like, okay, well, it's just a little bit of hair.
Right.
It's
downplayed it.
Yeah, downplayed it. Maybe, we'll get some shampoo and wash it. Well, when her grandfather found out, Bud,
I wish he was here.
I wish she was here too. But it's like They didn't want to make the trip. You know, you can't force anybody to do anything they can't do. But anyway, but he and a grandmother put her in the car and took her right to the doctor. I mean, they grabbed her up and took her. And that's how she found out that she had it.
That's good.
The parents was kind of just shoving it under the table.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, she's just, you know, it's just one of those
And
phases
for
kids
whatever
go through.
reason, we
Yeah.
again we
But
don't
when the
know
parents
the
found
reason.
out, they were shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the
And-
backstory that we
and
don't know.
I completely agree with that as well, because it depends on how you're growing up or where you've grown up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that my parents denied it.
Right.
Because
No.
they wouldn't have taken me to the doctors to get the steroid treatment, right? So
Right.
they were obviously concerned. But I'm just saying there's a lot of people that do shove it under the carpet, where there is still a lot of kids that I find that have it. I actually have people, I had a lady today that approached me about, she just actually said, I look fantastic with this head, my bald head.
Yeah.
And we're just at a coffee shop. And I said, thank you. And we started talking, and she mentioned, we started talking, and then I said, I've actually got a condition called alopecia. And she says, oh, and she came out and told me about the fact that she lost her eyebrows through stress. And,
Yep.
but going back to the kids, I don't think that when this is happening at times, the kids actually need the emotional support as well,
Yeah.
which is really important, because when they don't get that, they don't get fed that. Because what goes on at school and out of having to live with something like that, it is a really tough place to live in when you're a kid and dealing with that.
You got something?
Well, kids are really, really tough.
Kids are cruel.
Kids are
they're
cruel, but kids are cruel. Period.
Yeah, kids are cruel,
We-
period.
let's not discount them. Kids are
Right.
cruel. Period.
Yeah.
So
But
again,
I'll say that when her classmates did find out that she had this disease, they
Yeah.
found out what it was
it's
about.
a different song,
It was
wasn't
a
it?
whole different story. They couldn't. They gathered around her.
Yeah.
Made pictures with her, and wished her all the
fear.
work.
It's that initial, and you said it, Elvis. It's that initial human being fear.
Yeah.
That
I don't understand that. I don't know.
yeah, right. So we shut it off. Leah, you had something you wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, I was so interested in that. So after the Tyra Banks thing, and I started thinking about the younger girls and the younger youth, boys and girls going through this. That's when I really got involved in looking up what is out there for kids. That's when I found that Children's Alopecia Project.org, and this is a foundation that was founded by Jeff Whiteovich on the East Coast. His daughter was born. One of his daughters was born with alopecia, and he has devoted his life to creating these summer camps, just like what the hospitals do, but it's not related to hospitals, which is nice for kids. It's not like a sick kind of thing, Yeah, and so they travel all over the country. They have these the camps. The kids of all ages go. Their whole entire family comes, which I think is also important, and that speaks to the parents we were just talking about.
Exactly.
And it's actually grown. He does a big, huge surf camp in a different place in the United States every year. It's called Alopecia Palooza.
Wow.
Fantastic.
See what I'm saying?
I gotta try to show you some
Wow.
pictures. But so what happened? I was checking them out online, or I was, messing around on Facebook a couple of years ago, and that's when I saw a production company out of Los Angeles had posted something on Facebook that said, you want to donate money to your favorite cause but don't have enough money? Make a video, nominate your favorite cause, and if you win, we'll send the money.
Oh.
And I was just in a bad mood. Some of my best stuff comes from I guess I am a redhead with or without hair, right?
Yeah, it's that dark side. let me
I got
tell you.
into a mood, and I made that first video, and I had never, kind of like you, BB, I had never, people knew that I had alopecia, but I had never exposed it at that point. I was wearing hats. I kept enough hair to do like a ponytail in the back. So I had never been seen at that point yet. But I made this video. I talked about the kids. I nominated this foundation, and I shaved my head, and it won.
Wow.
And so the money got sent to this foundation, and Jeff called me up and told me, you know what, you just sponsored 5 kids to come to this summer camp.
Are you a spokesman? Are you a spokeswoman for this organization?
I love them.
You must be a spokeswoman for this organization, because
I love this family.
that right there is big.
To date, so it just so happened that year he was having kids camp in Cambria, California, where it's 6 hours north from where I am. And so he said, please come, we'll pay your way, I want you to meet the families that you. So the coolest thing was I had never in person met another alopecian.
Oh,
I had done
wow.
this alone
Ever?
for ever.
Wow.
Never run into one, never seen one, never. So I walked into this camp, and the first little alopecia that I saw happened to be a 6-year-old girl. And she was in the back seat of a car. We were both coming into the driveway.
Wow.
Her dad slams on the brakes because they hadn't seen one either. They came all the way from New York State to bring their little girl, right? And I slammed on my brakes. I'm bald, looking out the window with big eyes. She pops her head up. She's looking out the window with big eyes. And I didn't know what to say. I just go, look how beautiful we are. And then Dad pops the doors open and like hands her to me, and we just hug. It was amazing, right? Changed my life.
That's what it's about.
Changed my
I picture
life.
the cutest Disney movie, like
Right?
cartoon scene right there.
She was so
the
cute.
big eyes,
Big
and just
eyes.
blink, blink. Oh my gosh.
So I got to know these families. I got to see the interaction with these parents, and I saw kids from age 4, 5, and 6 all the way up to teenagers, and I observed them. And what I see goes on a lot with parents is that these little ones, they're cute and they're bald and they're like more okay with it. These little 5 and 6-year-olds, they kind of don't know as much is wrong. Right. And then
They haven't entered the superficial world of adults yet.
That's right. Well, yeah, and
looks
kids.
or everything.
Yeah,
and
so that's vulnerable. That's then again, when you talk about human beings, Elvis, that mental toughness. You have to understand how vulnerable that age is. The 5-year-old, the 7, 8, and those are some vulnerable years where our identity gets created. So any negative context about that condition that they hear, you can imagine you could take that in, start to digest it as a negative about yourself.
Oh, for sure.
So that's
these little ones, and their parents are like worried, watching them hovering, worried and hurting in their hearts for their kids. But their kids are young. Like you put them in the same room, and they're like, hi, you're bald. Yeah, I am too. Want to go make a fort? Like they're over it. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
But the teenagers walk in, and they're all wearing wigs and wraps, and they're hugging their, arms crossed, and they're looking down, and
shut off.
Right. And so I watch these parents, and they're like feeling like their kid's okay, and then as their kid gets older and starts to not be okay, the parents become less okay because they're panicking.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but I remember being a child. My parents got divorced. I felt responsible for their feelings. So here I'm watching a mother say to her child, don't feel bad, don't feel bad, don't feel bad, because mom needed to not feel bad.
Right.
And I was like, oh, no, honey. You got to say, feel bad.
Yeah.
You're going through what it's valid.
Yeah.
Like, feel it, girl, own it. I'm right here with you. Don't say don't feel bad, because now you've got a girl who feels terrible and guilty for making her parents feel, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly, all that.
And so that was last year, and this year we have 2 less girls at camp because of overdose.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
So
bad.
as a parent and an adult, I think it's so important
Were they
to
two
watch
girls,
yourself
not two
deal with
boys,
your
or
child.
2 girls?
I'm sorry?
It was 2 girls.
2 girls.
Okay. I think it's a lot tougher for women and girls.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, because
Like
I mean,
2 billion
naturally,
percent.
I shave. It's
Me too.
it's different. It's a different aspect when you talk about you have the choice to shave, and then you can't shave because of your condition. So
But it's
two different worlds.
It's also a natural thing for women to need to feel beautiful.
Well, especially at that age.
Yeah.
Those are vulnerable ages.
Yeah.
Especially the teens, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know that's very emotional for you. It's like it's making
Those
me
girls,
emotional,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because it's real. It's
but,
real.
But I can't think of the word, but I'm very impressed and proud of both of you, because like you guys are incredibly brave and strong,
Thank you.
women to be just here talking about it and putting that out there. So I mean, I think the more that more people that have it and that are like the both of you that get out there and start talking about it, the more it's gonna work out better.
Yeah, thank you.
So
I think it's part of our calling, to be honest. And yes, thank you for saying that. It's definitely, I mean, obviously both of us, it's taken quite a long time. It's nearly a decade, so it's been 8
Yes.
years of pulling and stripping back a lot of layers of what's been happening to us. And I think as we were just talking about those layers before, you were talking about the drinking. I kind of was using exercise as my drug of choice, really, and that wasn't working anymore to calm myself down. So what happens is that you then have to really face what's actually happening in your world and not hide from, not lies, but things that you haven't dealt with. And that's the only way you can move forward, is to deal with what's been coming up for you.
That's right.
That's where I think, especially with women, we're more emotionally in tuned. There will be things that will continue to come up from your past, or it doesn't matter if it's your current partner or if it's an addiction, may that be whatever it is, drinking, drugs, gambling. You have to acknowledge what is happening for you, because you're not going to get out of that dark space, because it's going to keep knocking at your door. Yeah. And it's a life changer. You have to go through the dark to get to the light.
Yeah, it's a lot, and what I want listeners to really to relate to. I don't care about understanding this conversation. You don't need to understand it, but if you could just relate to the human being aspect of, take out alopecia, take out sickle cell, take out lupus. Human beings are still suffering just from life itself.
That's right.
And then you add a health complication or a health illness to it, it increases whatever that mental health state is. And depending on your environment, if you don't have that environment where they seek help for you, then again, I can relate to you being in the dark place and then finding a purpose and instead of being up all night till 3 o'clock in the morning worrying, right. I was up at 3 in the morning researching.
Right.
And to direct that energy to something where you find that you can help people. I mean, it's no other feeling. It's priceless.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? So everyone does have a journey of some sort, and everyone's got a calling.
Yes.
And that's what we've got to bring out in everyone, because everyone's worthy, and it's humanity. You're exactly right about it. It doesn't matter if it's whatever disease or condition or whatever it is. At the end of the day, everyone has their own journey and their own path, and something to give back to the world to make it a better place.
Yeah.
When I definitely know with depression and I've experienced a few things in my life where I've absolutely felt completely alone. And it really is a comfort knowing if you're facing an issue that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the courage is to find out if you're alone or not.
That's right.
That's the courage.
That's right.
Just to find out, because, again, human beings, we judge, and we have, opinions about different things, even our friends and family. And who wants to come out and say something that I'm dealing with something because you're going to prejudge me already? Like, I would rather just not say nothing to you, but then that doesn't help the situation either. So, again, it's empowering those youth and those teenagers to be able to speak up and speak out about it to the parents and to someone in that community or something.
Well, I don't know.
I think it's difficult, isn't it? I think everyone deals with their own depression or their problems in different ways. And I do agree about reaching out. I didn't reach out. For 2 years I lived underground and no one knew what happened to me. But I was also working as a personal trainer and a fitness trainer in front of group classes and whatnot, wearing bandanas while my hair is falling out.
Right.
And having to put on a happy face.
Yeah.
Right.
But the beauty out of that was I was forced to be happy and put on a smiling face as a show face to show, because no one would want to come to a class if I was upset and depressed and I started talking about the fact that my hair was falling out.
So we came to exercise.
I put on a happy face, but it was actually a gift, because it made me and it forced me to be in a space and live in that moment where I had to be all happy and stuff for that hour, and it was great.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about me; it was about everyone else.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna move on to this segment. We got about 11 minutes left. Leah, you brought some music. And one of my shows, I do Music Marks a Place in Time, where I have guests come and they share, some of the songs that, trigger those thoughts. You got those songs, Elvis, that you can remember that'll take you back to you was 5 years old, playing in the yard and those kind of songs?
Man, it's a mile-long list.
All right.
You'd be a good guest, too. So, Leah, you brought some tunes.
I brought some tunes.
So I'm going to play a couple before we get out of here, just so you can share with us, like, what was going on back in these in these times.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. So what is this? This is
Which one?
I know that song.
Days of the New Year.
Days of the New.
Days of the New.
These guys are awesome.
What was going on?
Let me think. Let me feel.
Yeah.
I was this period of time I was very lost. I was very alone. I was very chemically dependent.
Yeah.
Very chemically dependent. And I think every time that I heard this song, I had an idea that this wouldn't last forever. I had no idea how that would happen. I had no faith in myself at all.
Yeah.
I had no intention of getting clean. I didn't think that was a possibility. But it was like
Still some hope in there
a
somewhere,
voice
yeah?
saying, yeah, like this, there's something else coming. Yeah.
All right.
That's what this song is for me.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next one real quick here.
I didn't know we were
God,
going to do
that
this.
song brought like tons of memories
I
back to
know.
me. I was like,
That's what we do around these parts. Mr. Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks.
Small town Midwest girls, where I come from, these are my roots.
That's your roots.
you wouldn't think it with the mohawk, but
Right?
Garth Brooks is awesome.
The Mohawk's cool. I can kind of see it. I'm on my phone, but I'm outside and I can see the Mohawk.
Yeah, you
I
see
can
that?
see-
Let me bring it back just so you can.
Yeah, bring it back.
Is that us on the
Yeah,
left
that's
there?
you. Yeah,
That's you.
how long? A few seconds delay.
I was gonna say, how long's the delay?
A few seconds delay. Leah, what was going on here with Garth Brooks?
I think the first time I heard this song, I was a young girl in the Midwest, and I thought that this was my dream love, right? The cowboy that rides in on the horse. This is what he's gonna sing to me, and we're gonna. But it stayed with me through my life because this is how I feel about life today. My life. I am shamelessly in love with my life.
Yeah. You come out of that dark side. That's what you.
Yeah.
You gotta get that
I'm on
self-love.
fire for it. Yeah.
You're not gonna find love
That's
in
right.
nobody else. We
That's
look
right.
for love in outside.
It starts within.
It's temporary outside. You'll find it outside, but
It's
I'm
temporary,
learning.
you're right.
I'm learning now. Right now, you gotta love yourself first. Inside.
But you got the cowboy.
Oh, and we got the guy.
I got the cowboy and I got the ride.
Speaking
That's
of
right.
which,
Here we go.
some Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
That sounded deep.
I know, right?
I didn't know we were gonna do this. Oh. There was a man who was a father to me when I was young, and he was a drug addicted and autistic, and he was a member of my family, and all he could do to communicate was perfectly play and sing this song.
What?
And so every time that I went to see him, he'd
played
open
that?
the door and I'd sit on the floor and he'd pick up the guitar and pick the song and sing it.
Wow.
And that was all he could do.
How old were you then?
Oh gosh.
Come on, give me an
12,
age.
13,
That's what I'm
14,
talking
15.
about.
I think he
I got
he
chills.
committed
Yeah.
suicide. Yeah. He ended his own life when I was 18.
18. I got chills. I'm
I will
almost
never-
teary-eyed.
I will
I'm just relating to that.
Yeah, I love that man.
All right, we got two more. So
Oh,
be careful. We got
okay.
two more.
Two more. You,
got
you
two
can,
more.
but you can't. You can hang in there.
Like I can feel that, man. I might need a tissue.
We get to some
I
tissue.
don't think this one is mine. Is this one mine?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't this the best one?
That's one.
Yes, thank you.
Come on.
Now I'm gonna cry.
What's going on?
Saturday morning.
Saturday
Every
morning.
Saturday morning. Dad turning up that radio. He raised me by himself. We boogied every Saturday
You
morning.
were raised by your dad?
Just raised
I
by
met
my
a
dad.
guy last night at an event I was at. Raised his daughter from pretty much 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
And she's 14 now.
Wow.
and he's advocating for single fathers
hats off.
to do some work in the community. But
My hat's off to any real father. This is not a deadbeat, you know.
That's right.
yeah,
Same goes for mom.
Well,
And
of
mom
course,
too, yeah.
of course, of course.
fathers get it rough though. You know,
Yeah,
fathers
yeah.
get it rough. The conversation about fathers is rough.
Elvis was helping me put together this list last night, and I was telling him the story. Dad died in a nursing home 2 years ago, and he had strokes and had a hard time writing words, but we were playing a card game one night, and he wrote a note to me. The last thing he ever wrote was the lyrics to this song, Hang On
Shut
Snoopy.
up.
And I still have that. so
Wow.
this is our song.
That's our song.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more. You
Okay,
ready?
yep.
All right. Again, this is the show that I do, Elvis, on Mondays called Music Marks a Place in Time.
Mm.
Outside of the awareness, those are serious conversations. It's kind of difficult to have a light topic about people's life experience and health
Yeah.
and well. I mean, this is more of awareness. You got to have those conversations. You got to have.
You know, we
Absolutely.
should break out and tell people what Elvis does.
Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah,
get to that
you
before we
have
go.
one
Oh
of
yeah.
those.
Oh yeah. No.
No.
But so Monday is where I express my musical side.
I would like that show. I would like that
That's
show.
where I do my musical side.
I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for music.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think most-
soundtrack to your life.
Exactly.
That's what it's
That's
about.
right.
All right, Leah, you're not off the hook. One last one.
Have you ever fed a lover?
Pink.
Oh yeah.
Pink is badass.
Oh my gosh, she's
Pink is
amazing.
badass.
Close your eyes.
Have you ever listened to the lyrics of this song?
No, we're gonna do it right
Just
now.
trust it.
I float when Pink sings. Anyway.
So does she. Have you seen her show?
Yes. Yeah.
See what she's talking about.
Have you ever looked fear in the face and said, I just don't care? It's only half past the point of no return, the tip of the iceberg, the sun before the burn, the thunder before the lightning, and the breath before the phrase. Have you ever felt this way?
All right.
This song is the beauty of everything I've ever let go of
Yeah.
into freedom. I don't know how else to put it.
That's. You said it.
I'm gonna like bawl my That was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like just I want to turn the
Yeah,
floods
I'm
on.
with
Like
you,
I
man.
feel that. It's just wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is what I do. What I do.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Music marks a place in time. Soundtrack to your life. That's the Farron Dozier show. We talk about a lot of stuff on that show, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah, for sharing your
Yes.
story.
Yes.
Thank you.
It really
Vivi.
resonated with me on a lot of levels, and it feels so comforting to know that someone else has gone through a very similar path like yourself, as well as mine.
Very
So you've been
comforting.
very brave in using your anger, and I think, get out there, girlfriend.
BB, thank you for taking time out again to be on this show.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
And
my
again,
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I
Again.
appreciate you.
Thank you both of you for sharing your strength. I mean, I knew nothing about alopecia, but I learned a lot
Yeah.
from today. But especially just the strength that you guys shared, hopefully with a lot of people, and hopefully those that are looking for someone that
A
it's
way
just,
out.
A way it's just
out.
very moving. The strength of both of you. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
BB, I wanted to say very quickly, I wanted to thank you as well. I every time that I meet another alopecian, whether in person or not, what, I think we're luckier. I think we're luckier than a lot of the the normal people out there, because from across the world we've touched hearts.
Yes.
We touch each other's hearts. I see another woman or another man, instantly we touch hearts, and strangers don't usually do that
Yeah.
walking down the street. So very fortunate.
No, I
I
agree
love
with
this
that.
disease. I'm glad I have it.
I think alopecia sounds sexy, and alopecian kind of sounds. You know what I mean?
Right?
It sounds like its own country or
Yeah, right.
island. Like I'd like to go live there. You know?
It's its own community.
You know,
literally.
have you seen those alopecians? Woo, man.
Elvis, you're not gonna get out of here without letting the community know, man, who you are. You got to come back on my trench talk segment.
Yes.
That we talk about military topics and homeless issues. So please tell them who you are, man.
I'm just a guy.
Yeah,
I'm just a
I know
guy.
you are.
My name is Elvis, and I build tiny houses for the homeless.
That's right.
I fight the man. Damn the man.
Damn the man.
Yeah, I just I believe in investing in people, and you know, I build tiny houses for the homeless. I help bring some hope back to people, and I love what I do.
Vet Hunters was out there helping you build some
Absolutely.
stacks a few weeks ago, huh?
Oh yeah, we were out there. We were out there doing it.
Big time. Yeah, we've
That's
partnered together.
That's how we got this segment going.
Yeah.
Is because she was out there helping me with the wood and stuff, and we took a little ride and went and got some drinks for everybody.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and when we got over there, we started talking, and I thought, man, this would be a great show.
Yeah.
You know, this is a great topic, and I think it should be out there. And I'm glad Elvis came. I kind of talked Elvis into coming. So.
Elvis.
Thanks for having me. No, I appreciate it.
I'm gonna have you back, Elvis, because that conversation is again with what Vet Hunters, what we do.
That's right.
And we need you, and we stand behind you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
We stand behind him 100%.
Oh yeah. I got some pictures when we went off the 110, man. That was my first time up close and personal to your house, and I was like, you got to be kidding me.
You know,
amazing.
I saw that picture recently, and just I don't think
was a veteran living in that house.
Well, yeah, it was U.S. Navy.
Yeah,
U.S. Navy.
Yeah, Peanut he goes by, and but I just we didn't put that together. Like that day, you guys were there and took that picture. Like.
Oh, that was random.
Didn't know that it was my house, and I didn't know you guys were even there. Or like, I sent that to Joe and was like, "What's this, man? Like, when did this happen?" But it's just great. No, I mean, we're both doing great things. And
social media, please, and take everyone to find out. Help, let them know.
I've got a million of them out there. Facebooks and Instagram and all that. But it's a weird name. It's Mythpla. It's just like the word myth, mythpla.org.
Okay.
You can find out all kinds of stuff. And you can link to the Facebooks there, which I update more than the website. It just, I've got way too many things
what do you
to
hashtag?
do.
Hashtag tiny? Any particular hashtags where they can click and...
The only hashtag I really threw out there is share the good.
Share the good? Okay.
Share the good.
We'll check that one out.
So, but yeah.
You're going to come back?
I will come back.
Okay.
I will come back.
The
easiest way, people can just Google Elvis Summers. You'll find everything. It's all there.
Cool, man.
So
thank you. All right, I got to get out of here. BB, you still there? Thank you.
Yes, I am.
Thank you so much for your time.
Again.
No problem. Thank you. Cowboy.
God bless you.
This is because of you, Cowboy. This is really because of you, man. I had no idea.
Can I, Leah? Can I ask you that website again, just in case, like, there's especially kids or other people suffering from alopecia, like where they can go and get some of that information?
AlopeciaWorld.com is the biggest alopecia platform. You can find tons of information. But for kids and families and parents, I absolutely recommend children'salopeciaproject.org. Okay.
All right.
It's a great family, amazing people.
All right, cool. Again, this is WDC Radio. I'm your host. I'm WDC. I'm gonna get out of here. Up next, with the Mystic Ballroom Show with Greg. He spins albums here, so that's a pretty musical, great show, music show. So stay tuned for that. Again, I'll be back next Saturday right here at 2 p.m. with the Sports Lounge Live, and then again with WDC Radio at 4 o'clock. Got some very important conversation with you around heart disease and this thing called rhabdomyolysis. A lot of people have been exercising and collapsing and muscle failure due to rhabdomyolysis. So I got a doctor calling in from New York that's going to help me get some more of that information out. All right, so Twitter, Instagram at IamWDC, Facebook.com WDC Radio, hashtag the WDC Radio, and just follow me. For more information about sickle cell trait, go to WDCONSCT.org. And again, thanks to my guests. And we out of here.
See you later, everyone.
Child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll put it together and we'll get it undone. Someday, when your head is much lighter.
Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.